The forest moon of Cather Prime was not a place for the faint-hearted. Its crimson canopy stretched endlessly, filtering the twin suns into ribbons of blood-orange light that painted everything in shades of danger. The air hummed with the buzz of insectoid creatures, and somewhere in the distance, something howled, a sound that made even the bravest galactic explorers check their weapon charges. Lyra walked through it all with her hands in her pockets. She whistled a tune from old Earth, something her grandmother had taught her during childhood summers in the Appalachian Mountains. The melody seemed absurdly out of place here, a cheerful human sound in an alien wilderness that had claimed 3 survey teams before her arrival. But that was Lyra, fearless to the point of recklessness, or perhaps wise enough to know that fear was just another predator, one that fed on hesitation. The Xenobiology division had sent her here alone. Not as punishment, but as protocol. Humans, they discovered, had a peculiar effect on Kthra's apex predators. Where groups triggered hunting instincts, a solitary human often triggered something else entirely: curiosity. Lyra had read the reports. She knew about the Kthra, the 6-legged predators that dominated this moon's food chain. Adults stood 3 meters tall at the shoulder, with obsidian scales, retractable claws that could shred durasteel, and the intelligence that bordered on sentience. Their cubs, born in litters of 5 to 7, were taught to hunt from the moment they could walk. She also knew they were watching her. The rustling came from 3 directions simultaneously, a classic ambush formation. Lyra stopped walking but didn't reach for the plasma pistol at her hip. Instead, she crouched down and placed her palms flat on the moss-covered ground, feeling the vibrations of their approach. 4 of them. No, 5. Cubs based on the weight distribution. Probably no older than 6 standard months, which meant they were already the size of earth tigers and twice as deadly. The first one emerged from the crimson ferns, its scales still showing the mottled pattern of youth. Behind it, 4 others fanned out, forming a semicircle, their eyes, 3 on each side of their elongated skulls, fixed on her with predatory focus. The leader, distinguished by a scar above its center right eye, took another step forward. Wren, Lyra thought, remembering the marking pattern from her briefing files. The cub that had survived a cliff fall 2 months ago. Smart, aggressive, destined to lead the pack someday, the cubs began their intimidation display. They rose on their hind legs, middle limbs extended to make themselves appear larger. Their throat sacs inflated, producing a sound like grinding metal mixed with a steam whistle, a noise designed to trigger every prey animal's instinct to flee. Lyra tilted her head, studying them with genuine interest. Then she laughed. It wasn't a nervous laugh or a mocking one. It was pure, genuine amusement, the kind that comes from deep in the belly and makes the shoulders shake. She laughed at the absurdity of it all. 5 alien predator cubs barely out of their den, trying to frighten a species that had climbed to the top of Earth's food chain, not through claws or fangs, but through sheer stubborn audacity. The effect was instantaneous. Wren jumped backward, all 6 legs scrambling for purchase on the slick ground. The other cubs froze, their threat display collapsing into confusion, their heads tilted at angles that would be comical if they weren't attached to creatures that could easily kill her. Lyra kept laughing, and the sound seemed to fill the forest, echoing off trees and bouncing back from the rocks. It was a sound Kthra had never heard before. Not fear, not aggression, but something entirely alien to its evolutionary rulebook. Joy Wren recovered first, as leaders do. He dropped to all 6s, pupils contracting as he processed this new data. His thermal pits flared, reading Lyra's body temperature. No spike in adrenaline. No cortisol flood. The human wasn't pretending. She was genuinely amused. "You're good kids," Lyra said, wiping tears from her eyes. Really had me going there for a second. She knew they couldn't understand standard, but tone was universal. She pulled a ration bar from her pocket, compressed protein and nutrients, and broke it into pieces. The cubs watched with laser focus as she tossed the first piece to Wren. He sniffed it, then looked back at her. The other cubs remained frozen, waiting for his decision. "Go on," Lyra encouraged. "It's safe. Probably tastes like garbage to you, but it won't kill you." Wren ate it. His throat sacs pulsed. Not in threat this time, but in what Lyra recognized from her research as surprise. The texture was wrong, the taste alien, but it was food. He chittered, a sound like clicking stones, and the other cubs relaxed fractionally. Lyra tossed 4 more pieces. one for each of the others. They scrambled for them with the enthusiasm of children everywhere, regardless of species. For a moment, they weren't apex predators in training. They were just kids playing and eating and being curious about the strange visitor in their forest. Then, something remarkable happened. Wren made a sound, a rhythmic huffing that Lyra's translator chip struggled to interpret before finally settling on a provisional definition. Amusement, play sound, pack bonding. He was laughing, or at least he was making the Kthra equivalent. The other cubs joined in, creating a chorus of huffing, clicking sounds that were nothing like their earlier threat displays. They moved closer, still cautious but no longer aggressive, circling Lyra with the same curiosity she'd shown them. One of the smaller cubs, a female with asymmetric scale patterns, reached out with a forelimb and touched Lyra's jacket. The material fascinated her. Another began sniffing Lyra's boots, trying to catalog this new creature in its expanding database of forest things. Lyra sat down properly, cross-legged, making herself less threatening. There we go, see? Humans aren't so scary once you get to know us. Wren approached until he was close enough that Lyra could feel his breath. Hot and smelling of the raw meat cubs were weaned on. His center eyes focused on her while his peripheral vision kept track of his pack. A leader's habit. Slowly, Lyra extended her hand. Wren sniffed it, his thermal pits reading her body heat, his acute senses cataloging everything from her heartbeat to the bacteria on her skin. Then, in a gesture that would make xenobiologists weep, he pressed the side of his head against her palm. The scales were surprisingly warm, like sun-heated stone. "Good boy," Lyra whispered. They stayed like that for several minutes, human and alien, predator and... What was she? Not prey. Not predator. Something else. Something that could meet danger with laughter and turn a hunting pack into curious children. Eventually, an adult's call echoed through the forest, deep and commanding. The cubs tensed immediately. Wren pulled back, huffing one last time at Lyra before turning to lead his pack home. The others followed, but not before the small female gave Lyra's boot one final affectionate bite. Lyra watched them disappear into the crimson ferns, then stood and dusted off her pants. Her comm unit buzzed, the orbital station checking in. "Lyra, status report. Did you make contact?" She looked at the direction the cubs had gone, a smile still playing on her lips. "Affirmative. Contact established. I think we're going to get along just fine. Any hostile encounters?" Lyra thought about Wren's confusion about the moment laughter bridged the gap between species, about how fear could be answered with joy. "Negative," she said. "No hostiles here. Just kids being kids." As she continued her survey, Lyra resumed her whistling. Behind her, hidden in the undergrowth, 5 pairs of eyes watched her go. And if a xenobiologist had been there with sensitive enough equipment, they might have detected something extraordinary. 5 young Kthra, making soft huffing sounds in rhythm with her tune. Learning to laugh.